Today we will be multiplying decimals. This covers Standard 7 NSA2C, which is apply properties of operations as strategies to multiply and divide rational numbers. Our objective today is that students will be able to multiply decimals and determine if the product is a positive or negative number. So our first example has 9.5 multiplied by 0.6. Now, when we were adding and subtracting decimals, we had to line up our decimal points. We don't have to worry about that with multiplying. If they do line up, that's okay, but we don't have to line them up like we did when we were adding and subtracting. So we're just going to stack these up. So 9.5 multiplied by 0.6. 5 times 6 is 30, so 0, we're carrying our 3. 6 times 9 is 54. Plus 3 is 57. Now normally we would put a 0 here and then start multiplying by this second digit here that's in the 0, or where the 0 is, but since that's a 0, it's okay to go ahead and multiply those, but that's really extra work that you don't have to do. However, you can do 0 times 5, which is 0, and 0 times 9, which is 0. And then add those up, and like I said, you're still going to come out with the same thing with that 570. Now, when we multiply decimals, we have to count our decimal places. So in 9.5, we had 1 decimal place, and in 0.6, we had 1 decimal place. So that's a total of 2 decimal places. So we have to move our decimal over 2 places in our product. So we get the answer of 5.7, or you can write that as 5.70. That's the same thing. Any zeros after the decimal doesn't make a difference. Since we have 2 positive decimals that we were multiplying, we can use our sock trick. 2 positives give us a positive because that's matching socks. So we would get 5.7, or like I said, 5.70. Go ahead and pause your video and try example 2. Okay, we have 2.2 and 0.5. 2 times 5 is 10, so 0 and carry our 1. 5 times 2 is 10, plus that 1 we carried makes 11. And again, since we've got that 0 there in the ones place, we don't have to multiply all those by 0. However, we've got 1 decimal place here and 1 decimal place here, which makes for a total of 2. So we have to move over 2 in our product, which gives us 1.1 or 1.10. We're multiplying a positive number by a positive number, so that's matching socks, which means it stays positive. Okay, in example 3, we have 4.5 multiplied by 1.8. 5 times 8 is 40, so 0, we're going to carry our 4. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 4 is 36. This time we will need to put our 0 as our placeholder and then multiply by this 1 here that's in the ones place. So 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 4 is 4. We'll add these up. 0 and 0 gives us 0. 6 and 5 give us 11, so 1, and then we're carrying a 1. So 4 plus 3 is 7, plus that 1 we carried makes 8. Okay, we need to see where our decimal goes, so we had 1 decimal place here and 1 decimal place here, which makes for a total of 2, so we need to move it over 2 places, which would give us 8.1 or 8.10. However, don't forget to check to see if it's negative, so we had a negative multiplied by a positive. So a negative and a positive is not matching socks, which would make our answer negative. So we would get negative 8.1. Go ahead and pause your video and try example 4. We have 6.5 multiplied by 0.6. 6 times 5 is 30, so 0, we're going to carry our 3. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 3 makes 39. And again, since we've got a 0 in the ones place, there's no sense in multiplying everything by 0 because it's just going to give you the same thing again. However, you need to check and see where your decimal is going to go. So we had a decimal place here and a decimal place here, so that makes a total of 2. So we would need to move over 2 places, putting us at 3.9 or 3.90. We have a positive number being multiplied by a negative number. So those are not matching socks, and that will give us a negative product. Pause your video and try both examples, 5 and 6. So we have 0.5 multiplied by 5.5. 5 times 5 is 25, so we're going to have a 5 and carry our 2. 5 times 0 is 0, but we have to add that 2 that we carried, so that gives us 2. We're going to put a 0 as a placeholder. 5 times 5 is 25, so 5, and we're carrying a 2 again. 5 times 0 is 0, plus that 2 we carried is 2. We will add those up. 5 and 0 is 5. 5 and 2 is 7, and then 2. Don't forget to check and see where your decimal is going to go. So we had 1 decimal place here and 1 decimal place here for a total of 2. So that gives us 2.75. We had a negative number being multiplied by a positive number, so that's not matching socks, which gives us a negative product. In number 6, we had 1.5 multiplied by 6.6. 6 times 5 is 30, so 0, carrying a 3. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. We'll have our 0 as a placeholder. 6 times 5 is 30, so 0. This time we're carrying a 3 again. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. So when we add those up, we get 0, 9, and 9. Check to see how many decimal places. So we had 1 here and 1 here for a total of 2, which gives us 9.9 or 9.90. We had a negative number being multiplied by a negative number. So those are matching socks, which makes our product positive this time. Pause your video and try examples 7 and 8. Okay, negative 6.5 multiplied by 11.75. So I like to put the one that has the most digits in it on the top. It just looks more even like that to me, but it doesn't matter. You can write it either way when you stack it up. So 11.75 multiplied by 6.5, and remember, we don't have to line those decimals up like we did when we were adding and subtracting. So 5 times 5 is 25, so 5 and carry 2. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 2 is 37, so 7, we're carrying a 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. And then 5 times 1 is 5. We put our 0 as a placeholder. 6 times 5 is 30, so 0. This time we're carrying a 3. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 3 is 45, so 5, and this time we're carrying a 4. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 10, so 0, and we're carrying a 1 this time. 6 times 1 is 6, plus that 1 is 7. We'll add all of these up, so 5, 7, 8 and 5 is 13, so 3, carrying a 1. 5 and 1 makes 6, and then our 7. Remember to figure out where your decimal is going to go. So we have 2 decimal places here and 1 decimal place here for a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3 spaces makes that 76.375. You had a negative number being multiplied by a positive number, so that's not matching socks, which gives us a negative product. So you should have got negative 76.375. In number 8, we had 21.4 multiplied by 3.5. 5 times 4 is 20, so 0, carry a 2. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 2 is 10. We put our 0 as our placeholder. 3 times 4 is 12, so 2. This time we're carrying a 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus that 1 we carried makes 4. And 3 times 2 is 6. Add those up, we get 0. 7 and 2 make 9. 4 and 0 make 4. And 6 and 1 make 7. Remember to count your decimal places, so we had 1 here and 1 here for a total of 2. So we need to move it over 2 places in our product. So we get 74.9 or 74.90. We have a negative being multiplied by a negative, so that's matching socks, which gives us a positive product. Pause your video and try example 9 and 10. So we have 15.5 multiplied by 5.75. 5 times 5 is 25, so 5 and carry your 2. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 2 makes 7, so 27. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 makes 7. Put a 0 in your placeholder. 7 times 5 is 35, so 5. We're going to carry a 3 this time. 7 times 5 is 35, plus that 3 make 38, so 8, and carry a 3 this time. 7 times 1 is 7, plus that 3 make 10. We have a 0. Now we have to put 2 zeros this time because we're going all the way over to the ones place. 5 times 5 is 25, so 5, carry a 2. 5 times 5 is 25, plus that 2 make 27. And 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 makes 7. We add those up. 5, 0, and 0 make 5. 7 and 5 make 12. So that's kind of... Okay, so that 7 and 1 here make 8. Plus 8 is 16. 16 plus 5 make 21. So 1 and carry a 2. 7 and 2 make 9. And 7 and 1 is 8. Remember to count your decimal places. So 1 here, 2 here, make a total of 3. So you got to move it over 3 places in your product. So you get 89.125. Make sure you go back to see if that's positive or negative. So we had a positive rational number, plus another positive. That's matching socks, which give us a positive product. In number 10, we have 4.75 multiplied by 2.5. Again, remember you don't have to line up decimal points when you multiply. 5 times 5 is 25, so 5, carry a 2. 5 times 7 is 35, plus 2 make 37. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 is 23. Got a 0 as a placeholder. We have 2 times 5, which is 10, so 0, carrying a 1 this time. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 1 makes 15, so 5 and carrying a 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 makes 9. We'll add those up. 5 and 0 is 5. 7 and 0 is 7. 5 and 3 is 8. And 9 and 2 is 11. Remember to count your decimal places. So we had 2 here, 1 here for a total of 3. So we have to move over 3 decimal places. And we get 11.875. We had a positive number multiplied by a negative number, so that's not matching socks, which will give us a negative product of negative 11.875. Okay, pause your video and complete your exit slip. Okay, it says the coach for a basketball team wants to buy new shoes for her 12 players. Super Sports is offering a 20% discount on each pair of shoes, which were originally priced at $72.50. A 6.5% sales tax will be applied to the discounted price. The same shoes are also available on Double Dribble's website for $54.75. A 9% processing fee will be applied to the cost of the shoes, plus a shipping fee of $5.99 for each pair. What is the difference in the total cost of the 12 pairs of shoes between the two stores? So we first need to figure out what we are paying at Super Sports. So if you're getting a 20% discount, then that means you're paying for 80% of that original price. So we're going to write that as 0.80 0.80 multiplied by 72.50. You're welcome to use a calculator on this. So 0.80 times 72.50 gives us 58. So that means you're only paying for $58 for each pair. However, we've got to add sales tax to that. So you still have to pay 100% of that $58, but then you also have to pay 6.5% in sales tax. You're welcome to multiply 58 by just 6.5 to find out the amount of tax to add to 58. Or we've talked about how you can just go ahead and multiply it by 1.065. So really what we're doing there is adding the 100% of the price plus 6.5% sales tax, which is 106.5%. And we write that as a decimal as 1.065. When you multiply that, you get $61.77. Now you'll need to multiply that by the number of shoes, which is 12. Which gives you a total of $741.24. Okay, now we need to calculate for Double Dribble. So it says that the shoes are $54.75, but you have a 9% processing fee. So that's going to be 109% of $54.75. So we're going to write that as 1.09 multiplied by $54.75, which gives you $59.68, so $59.68. Okay, so that is the cost of the shoes after that 9% processing fee. And then we would need to multiply that by the number of shoes, which is 12. And that gives you $716.16. And depending on how you round it over here with this $59.68, your answer could be off a few cents, but nothing to worry about. So that $716.16 is the cost of the shoes, the total cost of the shoes with the 9% processing fee. However, at Double Dribble, they also charge a shipping fee of $5.99 for each pair. So $5.99 multiplied by 12 equals $71.88. So that's the shipping fee that would have to be added to this $716.16. So when you add $716.16 plus the $71.88 for shipping, you get $788.04. And then the question wants to know what is the difference in the total cost. Okay, so obviously your better deal here would be at Super Sports, and the difference in the cost means to subtract. So you're going to take the $741.24 and subtract it from the $788.04 of Double Dribble. And when you subtract $788.04 minus $741.24, you get 46.8, which is $46.80. So that means that Super Sports is $46.80 cheaper than Double Dribble. Go ahead and complete your assessment on multiplying decimals.